Welcome to this video lecture. In this video lecture, let us learn about how to solve the numericals on a Nyquist stability criteria, how to solve the problems on a Nyquist plot, how to sketch the Nyquist plot, and based on the Nyquist plot, how to identify whether the given problem is a stable system or unstable system. See, in this problem, we have generalized the steps. Whatever I explained in the previous video lecture, that step is applicable only for certain problems, only for example lower order systems, and for higher order systems you need to do something else extra so that to get the correct Nyquist plot. So instead of taking one procedure for lower order system and another procedure for higher order system, I have generalized the complete working rule of the problem, and then let us apply the same procedure or the working rule for whether it is lower order or higher order system. Okay, so please consider this procedure what I am going to explain in this problem, and this is the procedure which is applied for any problem given, whether higher order or lower order. Any problem which is given on Nyquist plot, you can apply this procedure whatever I am going to explain for this problem 1, and don't consider any other methods what was taught in the previous lectures. Then you have to understand one more method for one problem, one method will be there. So generally I have generalized certain steps which works for all the different types of problems, whatever the problem nature is. So those generalized problem steps I am going to explain in the first problem. Follow the same problem, generalized problem steps to solve any problem given on the Nyquist plot. So assume this problem given, investigate stability of the open loop transfer function g of s into h of s 10 divided by s plus 1 into s plus 2. Same problem is done in the other method also, but I'll explain you how to solve this problem or any problem using a generalized method, and this problem has to be solved using Nyquist stability criteria. Okay, now for any problem of Nyquist plot given, the first step one what you need to do is step number 1. Follow these steps for all the problems whatever they give for Nyquist stability criteria. First you put s is equal to j omega. So put s is equal to j omega, you will get g into h. I am not writing g of s, h of s, simply I am writing g into h. 10 divided by s plus 1 into s plus 2 was there. No, here I will put s is equal to j omega. So 10 divided by j omega plus 1 into j omega plus 2. And I can write this in the other form like 1 plus j omega. Okay, I can rearrange the terms and write. And here also I can write 2 plus j omega. Now after this first step, identify how many open loop poles are there. How many open loop poles are there? The denominator of the open loop transfer function equate it to 0. Then you will get open loop poles. S is equal to minus 1 and S is equal to minus 2 denominator. Right. So are there any poles present on the right hand side? Where is the pole present here? One pole is present at minus 1 and another pole is present at minus 2. Are there any poles present on the right hand side? No. So therefore what is the value of capital P you will put? Therefore capital P is equal to 0. Capital P stands for open loop poles on the right hand side. Capital P stands for number of open loop poles on right hand side. Okay, there are open loop poles present, but there are no open loop poles present on the right hand side. That is why I am making this capital P is equal to 0. Now this is the first step, and one more thing what you need to do, you have to find the magnitude, capital M. So how to find the magnitude? Take modulus of g into h, you will get the magnitude. So what is the modulus of g into h? Numerator is 10. Magnitude of 10 is 10 only. And what is the denominator you have got? Denominator is 1 plus j omega. What is the magnitude of any complex number? You will get square root of a square plus b square. That is 1 square plus omega square. and there is one more term in the denominator, right? What is that one more term? 2 plus j omega. What is the square root of 2 plus j omega? 2 square plus omega square. Square root of any complex number is root of a square plus b square. So magnitude is over. Now you have to also find the phase angle. How to find the phase angle? See this term given. In the numerator 10 is there. What is the phase angle of 10? Or phase angle of any constant number? 0 degree. So you can leave that. Now what is the phase angle of the denominator? Denominator is like a plus jb. Phase angle is given by formula tan inverse of b divided by a. Okay, and because it is in the denominator, the angle will be negative. See, I am going to write now. The phase angle is minus tan inverse of b by a, omega by 1. And again, there is one more term in the denominator, right? So for that also you should find angle. Minus, why minus? Because the term is in the denominator. Tan inverse of b by a. Why b? B is nothing but your omega divided by a. A is 2. So there are two terms in the denominator, two phase angle terms you got. So you got magnitude equation and phase equation. That is your step 1. Step 1 is over. So you have to repeat the same steps for any Nyquist problem given. Now coming to step 2. Step 2, you have to select the contour. How to select the contour I have told in the previous video lecture when I gave some tips for solving the problems. So how to select the contour? See, are there any poles present at the origin? Are there any open loop poles present at the origin? No. And are there any poles present on the j omega axis? No. So then I have to take the complete j omega axis and complete RHP of your S plane as your complete, okay, complete contour. So my contour will be like this. How to take the contour? This will be sigma, this will be j omega, and this is called as S plane. Correct? This is my 0. So how to take the contour? I'll take the red color. Starting from 0, you go up to infinity, take the entire RH side, come to minus infinity, then again go up to wherever you started. Okay, now where you started, that I will call it as A, and this is B, this is C, this is E. I am naming the points. Okay, and from how did I start? A to B I started, right? I took it in clockwise. So A to B, B to C, and then C to D, and then D to A. You have to take the contour in the clockwise direction. And what is the radius of this contour? Infinity. Why infinity? Because you have to take the entire right hand side as your Nyquist contour, and there are no open loop poles present on the imaginary axis or on the origin. Okay, that is why I have taken the complete imaginary axis and then the entire RHP as your contour. This is the contour you have to take. A, B, C, D. For all problems you have to take like this, if there are no open loop poles present on the origin and j omega axis. Now after taking the contour, first I have to convert the section A to B. Okay, so first write a section AB. First I am going to take section A to B. Where is A to B section? Here, A to B. So that I am going to take, and then I am going to convert this section A to B into its equivalent Nyquist plot. See, section A to B, what is A value? At A, point A, what is omega value? A is at origin, so omega is equal to 0. Now you put this omega is equal to 0, and what is the expression for magnitude m you will get? Put omega is equal to 0 here. 10 divided by square root of 1 plus 0 into square root of 2 square plus 0. So what is the answer you will get? If you do it in calculator, you will get the answer for omega is equal to 0, m will be equal to 5. And simultaneously calculate the phase angle also. Put omega is equal to 0 in the phase angle. Phi is equal to minus tan inverse of 0 minus tan inverse of 0. Tan inverse of 0 is 0. So minus 0 will give you 0 degree. Done. Now at point B. At point B, what is omega value? Infinity. correct? No, you can see here at point B is nothing but your infinity. Point D is also nothing but your negative infinity, minus j infinity. You know that the contour is a infinite contour. Entire right hand side means infinite only, no? So the B point will be at infinity and D point will also be at minus infinity. Remember, at B and D your omega value will be infinity here. At C also infinity. Now at omega is equal to infinity, what is the capital M value, magnitude you will get? Put omega is equal to infinity in this equation. You will get 10 divided by square root of infinity into square root of infinity. In the denominator, if there is infinity, then what is the term called? 0. So M will be equal to 0. Okay, because the denominator is infinity, then the M will be equal to 0. Now put this omega is equal to infinity in phi equation, phase angle. So minus tan inverse of infinity minus tan inverse of infinity. What is tan inverse of infinity? 90 degree. So minus 90 minus 90. What is that you will get? Minus 180 degree. Okay. Now from this you have to find out what is the rotation angle. Okay. The rotation angle is always calculated from final angle minus initial angle. Which is final angle? Point B. Initial angle is point A. So from minus 180 degree minus 0 you should do. Final angle minus initial angle. That is the thing you should do. So minus 180 degree minus 0 will give you minus 180 degree. This minus indicates that you have to draw the circle in clockwise direction. You have to draw the Nyquist plot circle in clockwise direction. See, now I am going to draw the Nyquist plot for section AB. I am only drawing the Nyquist plot for section AB. And for Nyquist plot, your real axis should be real term of G into H, and imaginary axis should be imaginary part of G into H. What is this what is this diagram called? This diagram is not S plane, correct? No, it is called G into H plane. It is no more called as S plane now. You should write the plane as G into H plane. Now, where is your how to mark and how to draw it? See, this is your origin point. Starting point is A. Where is A present? Point A is at M is equal to 5 and 0 degree. Which is 0 degree? See, this is 0 degree. This is 90 degree. This is 180 degree. And from downwards, if you take, this will be minus 90 degree. This will be minus 180 degree. And this will be minus 270 degree. Understood? These are the angles in clockwise and anti-clockwise direction. Now for point A, angle should be 0 degree. On 0 degree line, you have to take a magnitude of 5. That is the meaning. On 0 degree line, you have to take a magnitude of 5. 0 degree line is here. On this line, you have to take magnitude of 5 somewhere here. So on 0 degree, magnitude is 5. So this is my point A. Point A. Okay. Now where is point B present? Point B is M is equal to 0. On which angle? Minus 180 degree. So on minus 180 degree line, you have to mark M is equal to 0. M is equal to 0 means origin only. Correct? Now where to mark it? So on minus 180 degree, M is 0. So here it comes. So this is my point B. Okay, at origin on minus 180 degree is point B. Okay, now before drawing this plot, you have to find out where are your line is going to intersect. Okay, so where is your, whether your whatever the curve you are drawing, whether it intersects on j omega axis or it intersects on the real axis, that you should find. We don't know whether it starts here and it ends here, but whether to write like this or whether to write like this, where it cuts the j omega, where it cuts your real axis, you don't know. That also you need to find. Okay, so let me find that first in the next step. So in my next step, I am going to find where is that cutting happening. So for that, what you should do is you have to take your G and you have to rationalize it. Okay, rationalize G into H. So what was G into H given in your problem? G into H was nothing but 10 divided by 1 plus j omega. This was taken from the first step. Okay, and then 2 plus j omega. This you have to rationalize. Rationalize means what? Whatever you have in the complex number denominator, that complex number you have to multiply with its complex conjugate. That is nothing but rationalizing. See, I am going to show you. 1 plus j omega is there. No. Now you multiply and divide by 1 minus j omega and 1 minus j omega. Okay, and you have one more term in the denominator, that also you multiply 2 minus j omega and then divide it by 2 minus j omega. This is called rationalizing. Okay, complex conjugate you have to multiply. Now what happens if you multiply 1 minus j omega into 2 minus j omega? In the denominator, what happens? See, in the denominator you have 1 plus jb and 1 minus jb. 1 plus jb and 1 minus jb are like a plus jb into a minus jb. What is a plus jb into a minus jb? A square plus b square. Okay, complex conjugate, if you multiply you will get a plus jb into a minus jb will be a square plus b square. So I am going to write it as 1 square plus omega square. J term is gone now. Okay, now similarly if you multiply 2 plus j omega with the 2 minus j omega, what is that you are going to get? A square plus b square. 2 square plus omega square. J term you should not write. Okay, a square plus b square, j will not come. This happens in your denominator. Now what happens to the numerator? Numerator you should multiply. Okay, now I will multiply the numerator term 1 into 2 minus j omega. So this term into this term I will multiply. So it comes like 2 minus j omega. First term into second term, first term into second term I have done. Now minus j omega into 2. So you just multiply the numerator terms and then you will get plus j square into omega square whole divided by d, capital D I will write. What is this capital D? This whatever I have written in the denominator, no, I don't want to write such a big expression, so I am calling that capital D as my denominator. So it becomes simple, your steps becomes easy, that's all. Now simplify in the numerator. So you have minus j omega minus 2j omega. What happens to that? Minus 3j omega it will become. What is j square? J square is minus 1. So minus 1 into omega square divided by d. Now can you separate real term and imaginary term here? Yes. 10 into 2 minus omega square I can write, and then I can take j common. What is left out if you take j common? Minus 3 omega. Okay, whole divided by d. I can separate the terms like this. Okay, I am separating real term. Real part means wherever j is not there. 2 minus omega square into 10. Okay, and j into like this. And I forgot to put the brackets. So 10 is multiplied for both the terms like this. Okay, now you write the separate terms. 10 into 2 minus omega square divided by d. Okay, I can split the terms and I can write like this. Plus j into 10 into minus 3 omega divided by d. Can I write like this? Yes. Okay, what I have done, I have just separated the real term. See, in the first term is called real term because it does not have any j term. Second term is called imaginary term because it contains a j term. So all j I have taken it as imaginary term. All term without j I have taken it as real term. So I will mark that. So what is this part called? This is called as real term. and what is this part called? This part is called as imaginary term. Now what I am going to do, I will equate a real term and imaginary term to 0. So first you equate real to 0. So what you will get if you equate 10 into 2 minus omega square divided by d is equal to 0. So if you simplify, d goes to 0, 10 cross multiply d and 10 will become 0. So 2 minus omega square is equal to 0. So what is that you will get? Omega square is equal to 2. Okay, so remember, when you equate real term to 0, if your omega value is a value, it is a number. If your omega value is not 0, then that indicates you got omega square is equal to 2. No, it is not equal to 0. Then this indicates there is one intersect. There is one intersect on which one you made 0? Real part you made 0. No. When you made real part 0, you got omega value as a non-zero value. That is the meaning. There is one intersection. There is one intersection on imaginary axis. There is one intersection on imaginary axis. Okay. Now similarly, if you equate real term to 0, you will get to know whether there is a intersection on imaginary axis or not. Now I will equate imaginary part to 0. Imaginary to 0. What is imaginary part? 10 into minus 3 omega divided by d is equal to 0. Cross multiply d to the right hand side. 10 to the right hand side becomes 0. Then what is it? You got omega 0. I told you, no, only if you get omega not equal to 0, then you can tell that there is a intersection, because now you got omega is equal to 0. For imaginary term, you got omega is equal to 0. That means, this means no intersection. This means no intersection on real axis. Okay. If you equate imaginary to 0, you will get to know whether there are intersection on the real axis. If you equate real term to 0, you will get to know whether there are intersection on the imaginary axis. If you get a single non-zero value for omega, if your omega value is a single number other than 0, that means one intersection you have to write. If your omega value is 0, that means you should write no intersection on the respective axis. Okay. Now I got to know how many intersections are there. Okay. Now I will mark. Now I will write the plot. Okay. So I will take this S-plane. This is my real part of G into H, and this is my imaginary part of G into H. What is this diagram called? It is called GH plane. G into H plane. Now this is your 0 degree, 90 degree, 180 degree, and this is 270 degree. And if you come in the reverse way, this is 0 degree, this is minus 90 degree, this becomes minus 180 degree, and this becomes minus 270 degree. I have written all the angles, okay, all the possible angles, both in clockwise direction and anti-clockwise direction. Now I have to mark. Where is my first point? Point A I got. Where is my point A I got? See, point A is at 0 degree and magnitude is 5. This is my point A. Okay. And where is point B? You got point B is magnitude 0, but the angle is minus 180 degree here. Okay. Mark those point A, B there. See, this is my point A. This point A. This is my start point. I have to start writing the circle from here. Start. Where is my end point? This is my end point B. Okay. Magnitude is 0, but the angle is minus 180 degree. That is B. And B is your end point. It should start from A and it should end at B. Now, where are the intersection points you got? Okay. Where are the intersection points? Are there any intersections on the imaginary axis? Yes. One intersection on the imaginary axis. Which is imaginary axis? This one. Vertical axis. Wherever I is there, no, this is your imaginary axis. And are there any intersections on the real axis? Where is real axis? This one, horizontal. R I have written, no? So there are no intersection on the real axis. I have written here. But there is one intersection on the imaginary axis. Okay, now how to I am starting from this point, whether to write the circle like this or whether to write the circle like this, whether to write the circle in anti-clockwise or to write it in clockwise. That is important. Okay, and for that this will give you the answer. See, what is the rotation angle you got? Minus 180 degree. Minus sign indicates you have to write the Nyquist plot in clockwise direction. Minus indicates that you have to write the angle, you have to write the circle in the clockwise direction. Clockwise means like this. Okay, so clockwise direction I have to draw the circle. From starting from A, I have to draw a circle in the clockwise direction. That clockwise means I have to come down only, no? I cannot go up. If you go up from point A, it becomes anti-clockwise. But I have to go in clockwise direction. So from point A is the starting point. From point A you have to come in the clockwise. That means clockwise means from point A you have to come down. Okay, so where is the intersection point? Is there any intersection point? Yes. And where is that intersection point present? On the imaginary axis. See, one intersection is there on the imaginary. This is imaginary. So here there will be one intersection. So there is one intersection point here. Now join all these points. Starting from A, I have to come in the clockwise direction, intersect on the imaginary axis. Then I have to go meet my point B. I have to go meet my point B. Understood? And what is the direction? It starts from A and then it goes and meets to B. So the direction should be in the clockwise direction. Okay. See, according to this, whatever I have got, I have written one intersection on imaginary axis. See, on the imaginary axis, there is one intersection of the Nyquist plot. And are there any intersection on the real axis? No. On the real axis, except it goes and joins at origin, there are no other intersection. So you should not intersect the Nyquist plot on the real axis. Is it clear? Except at origin, where it goes and meets, where it goes and ends, no other intersection should be there on the real axis. Understood? So you have to start from A, intersect at the imaginary axis. After that, there is no intersection on the real axis. So after this point, you have to write a curve and then complete the curve, end the curve at the point B. You have to always start at A and end the curve at B. And you have to write the curve like a circle only. And also you have to mark the direction. So this is the Nyquist plot what I have got. Is it clear? Now coming to this imaginary section. Till now what we did the section A to B. A to B is over. Now let us do after A to B, what is the next section you have? In the contour, after A to B you have B to C and C to D. I can together take BCD. BCD is an arc with radius infinity, correct? No? So always remember, for any problem of Nyquist plot, you need not do the mapping of BCD. If you need not do the mapping of BCD. Okay, if you do also, the mapping of BCD will come to the origin. Okay, so in any Nyquist plot problem, you just neglect the mapping of BCD. Okay, now I'll write the same thing here. Section BCD maps to origin. Section BCD maps to origin always. Section BCD maps to origin always. Now coming to the last section, section D to A. I'll show it. See, after BCD is over, next remaining is what? D to A. So this D to A is the mirror image of A to B. So because it is mirror image of A to B, whatever you got for A to B, no, same Nyquist plot you should write in the mirror image format. Whatever you wrote the Nyquist plot down, same thing you should write it in the upward, like a mirror image. And mirror image should be with respect to horizontal axis. See, the same thing I am going to write now. Section D to A is mirror image. Section D to A is mirror image of section A to B, AB. Okay, so you need not to do it separately. So now how to write the total Nyquist plot? See, once again I will write here the complete Nyquist plot. All the sections are over. A to B is over. BCD is over. Now D to A is over. So now I have to write my complete Nyquist plot. What is a Nyquist plot? I wrote it here. This is half Nyquist plot only for section A to B. Now I have to write my complete Nyquist plot. How to write? I will take this thing. This is real part. This is imaginary part. You know what is that? I have to write GH plane. Okay. Now where did you get the half Nyquist plot already? Already from this to this point I have got. Correct? No. This is point 5, point A, and this is point B. Already I have got. Now how to write the remaining Nyquist plot? Remaining Nyquist plot should be the mirror image of section AB. Correct? No? So if the section AB is like this, whatever you got in the bottom, the same thing you write it in the top. Okay, like a mirror image. So like this will get. Okay, and the direction should be like a circular fashion. See, from point A to B it went. Now again from B to A it will go. Again from B to A. It should be like a circular arrow mark direction only. Don't write the arrow mark like all the arrow marks are incoming. Don't write like that. If the arrow mark is coming from A to B, then again it should continue. B to A. Like that only it should continue. Is it clear? Now this is my complete Nyquist plot. Okay. And my complete Nyquist plot, how many circles are present? Where is the -1? -1 will be somewhere here. And what is this center point? The center point is origin, 0. Are there any circles present around your -1? Are there any circles or any closed loop present circling this -1? Around -1? No. So that means, therefore I can write capital N is equal to 0. No circles. No circles around -1. Okay. And what is the open loop poles? You got it from the first step. Capital P. In step number 1, capital P is 0. Okay. That you substitute now. Substitute capital P 0. What is the Nyquist stability criteria? NSC. Nyquist stability criteria. We know that capital N should be equal to minus P. Is it equal? N is 0 and P is also 0. This is from first step. Satisfied. Correct? No, it is satisfied. Therefore, it is satisfied on the both right hand side and left hand side. Therefore, I can tell the system, the closed loop system is absolutely stable. No question about stability. Absolutely stable. If the condition, if the Nyquist stability criteria is satisfied on the both sides, then only you can tell the system is absolutely stable. Is it clear? Now follow the same procedure whatever I taught you for this first problem. For whatever the Nyquist plot problem they give, you follow the same steps. First step, you take put S is equal to j omega and calculate all your P value, magnitude, phase angle. Step 2, draw the contour. And first A to B, convert A to B into the mapping. And before writing the mapping, you first First find out what is the real part and imaginary part of the given transfer function. Separate real part and imaginary part. Equate real to 0, and if you get omega value as a single number other than 0, then you can tell there is an intersection point on the imaginary axis. Okay, and if there is any if you equate imaginary to 0, then if you get omega is equal to 0, that means there is no intersection on the real axis. Okay, for imaginary 0 you will get intersection on the real axis, and if you equate real to 0 you will get the information about intersection of imaginary axis. And after that, after knowing where are the intersection points, mark all the points A, B, and after A, B you mark the intersection points and join all the points like a circle or like a arc. And after that, write the section BCD and section DA is the mirror image. Whatever you got in the bottom, you write the same thing on the top. Then you find out how many circles are surrounding -1. If the stability criteria is matching, then you can tell the system is absolutely stable.